Do you remember when Nelly Furtado released a Loose album and you heard it was going to be produced by Timbaland and you got all excited about it and then it was a huge disappointment? Yeah, it was. You remember that, don't you? It was a huge disappointment, yeah? Yeah, don't be ashamed to admit that. Okay, we're all thinking it. You don't have to say it, but we're all thinking it. Yeah. Huge disappointment. Shit album. Well, at around the same time I was finding great enjoyment in discovering new words and finding ways to use them in a sentence. Only sometimes I would use new words without fully understanding their meaning, and I would recommend you don't do that. Didn't work out well for me. Not a good move. When I was in year 5, I was caught looking up a word in a dictionary in a maths lesson. Now, that word was penis. I knew full well what the word penis meant, but was just looking it up anyway to see if the person who had written this huge book had been daring enough to include such a rude word. And as it turned out, they had, and I closed the book with what was no doubt rather a shocked look on my face. No way, I thought to myself. They'll definitely have got sacked for that. That's how I used to talk when I was in year 5. Oh my god, hi, do you want to play football? Are you coming out to play? What's that? Put it away, put it away. And then I looked up to find my teacher staring at me. She had these horrible, like, milky green eyes and took great delight in comparing herself to the demon headmaster. And she said to me, "What word were you looking up, Rory?" And because I was in year 5 at that time, if I knew I was in trouble, my defence mechanism was just to not say anything, as if they might go, "Oh, he's not going to reply, we'll leave that, we'll just cast that aside, forget about it, it was probably nothing." I'd just sit there like... Definitely didn't work with her, and there was this horrible, agonising, probably 2-minute silence where we both just stared at each other, broken only by her occasionally going, "What was the word, Rory?" And she'd stare at me and I'd stare back and she'd pause and then say, "What was the word, Rory?" And I just didn't reply. And she never did find out what word I was looking up. I'm sure in her head it was something really rude like boobies or willy or wounded gash. But no, I was looking up a scientific word so that I could mature and become a proper clever boffin. But that's not how she saw it. It's just no telling some people, is there? But Rory, what does this anecdote prove? Well, clearly I always had an interest in words and their meanings, and that dictionary helped me no end. Thanks to my inquisitive nature on that particular day, I am now able to tell you the name of the little thing where your wee-wee comes out of. And I also know some other ruder words for it if you want to come and see me at the end and I'll tell you. So when Nelly Furtado released the second song off her Loose album, that being Promiscuous, I was desperate to use the word in context in a sentence so that I could impress some people. I know, I thought to myself, I'll use that in front of my parents, that's a good decision, they'll love that word. I left it a few months, of course. I didn't want people to think that I'd learnt the word from that song, but rather from a book or a documentary I'd happened to catch. Because God forbid anyone would think that pop music had taught me anything. But rather than using my old technique of looking up the word in the dictionary, I assumed, because it was used in a pop song, that it couldn't be rude. Like I just went, oh, it must just be like quite a nice word to use, because if it was rude it wouldn't get used in the charts, it wouldn't be allowed to be played. Of course it could. So imagine me and my mother sitting in the car driving to the supermarket early December time. When, out of the blue, I turn to her and say, "Mother, I hope you have a very promiscuous Christmas," without the faintest idea what it meant. She paused, clearly struggling to take in what I had just said, and then replied in quite a patronising tone as if she was talking to a 4-year-old son, No, we don't say that. I left it there and realised immediately I'd just doomed myself to a life of regret. I didn't know what it meant, I just knew it probably wasn't a good word to have used in front of my mother. When I finally looked up what it meant, I did a little die inside and cursed myself for not having done my research beforehand. Now, as far as I'm aware, promiscuity was not at the top of my mother's agenda that Christmas. That was not on her Christmas wish list. What would you like for Christmas, Claire? That was my impression of Santa. Hey, Claire, what do you want for Christmas? I'd like lots of promiscuity, please. If I hadn't done this video, this anecdote would probably never have come up again. She probably wouldn't have even remembered it, but now that I've done it, she's going to see it and be like, "Did you say that to me? Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah. Don't say that, don't say that. I know now not to say it, Mum." But I'm sure there must be many anecdotes about people using words that they don't know what they mean, or something like that. So, either on Facebook or in the comments below. Ideally in the comments below, but it's entirely up to you where you put it. Tell me some form of an anecdote to do with not knowing words, and I really look forward to your responses, and I'll see you next week. And that is me finishing my Nescafe Gold. Nothing gold about it, But I guess Nescafe tastes like shit wouldn't be as good a marketing slogan. Far more accurate though. In my year 5 voice again. There's a dick and there's a knob which is with a K, silent K, special K. Eat the cereal. Where's my weight gone? It's all gone. It's all gone. I'm a skinny mini. I'm a skinny mini.